Hello, my name's Christopher, and today I'm going to show you how to install Portainer on Proxmox LXC. So I got a viewer that said that my last video that I made for installing Portainer on Proxmox LXC, the port on Portainer changed to 9443. So I'm updating my video, and I'm trying to keep the videos as updated as possible. So, a little bit about this series, I'm going over home labs or installing things, getting things set up, everything like that. So if you're interested in that, subscribe, comment, like, and support the channel, and let's get started. So a little bit about Portainer is it's a container management platform and simplifies security adoption of containers with remarkable speeds. You can deploy containers, platform management, IoT device management, triage, remediate, and security and compliance, and lifecycle management. So you can go in here, read more. It has a really nice interface to deploy stacks, which is Docker Compose, and then containers. So Proxmox is a virtualization environment. It makes it to where you can virtualize the hardware into containers, and then you can also virtualize it in VMs. And VMs don't share the kernel to the host, and LXC containers share the kernel to the host. So VMs have their own storage, everything like that. So it makes it to where you can have high availability clusters. You can cluster multiple Proxmoxes together. And that makes it to where you can virtualize the hardware off. Let's features a virtualization, management, clustering, authentication, availability, network, storage, Ceph, firewall, backup server. So it has a REST API too. So we're going to get to setting up the Portainer. So I'm going to start on the Proxmox via helper scripts. There will be a link down in the YouTube description to get to this. So I'm going to go to the search box right here and type in Docker. And then here it is, Docker LXC. So I'm going to also go up to GitHub and explain how the install goes. So now I'm going to go up to the view GitHub. I'm going to open the link, go to the new tab. And then now we're on the Proxmox via helper scripts GitHub. And I'm going to go into CT. And then I'm going to go over to go-to file right here. I'm going to type in Docker. And then I'm going to see CT Docker right here. I'm going to go to it. So it's going to set the default settings right here. And this runs when you actually run this script inside of the built LXC, the Portainer LXC that we'll be creating. And it runs apt-get update and then apt-get upgrade, and then it says it's updated. I'm going to go over to the search box again. I'm going to go to Docker install. So it's going to install some dependencies. So curl sudo mc. It's going to set a function, and then we're going to use the functions in here. So Docker latest version, and then the mobby. And then it's going to get the latest release with the function up here. And then Portainer agent, and then Docker Compose. It's going to save those inside of the variables right here. And then it's going to set the Docker config path. It's going to make the directory. And it's going to ask you if you want to install Fuse Overlay FS. If you do, it runs this. And it's going to install Docker with get.docker.com with curl. And then it's going to ask the user if they want to install Portainer. If they do, then it will boot up the Portainer Docker right here. And we're going to use 9443. And it's also going to ask the user if they don't install Portainer right here. It's going to do the else. It's going to ask them, would you like to add the Portainer agent? And then if the user says yes, it runs this to where it boots up the Portainer agent Docker right here. And then it's going to ask the user if they want to install Docker Compose. And if they do, then it's going to install right here off of GitHub. So then it's going to set up the SSH, customize, and then it's going to clean up with apt-get auto remove and apt-get auto clean. So that's a little bit about how the install works. So I wanted to let you know about the Big Bear Club. You can join it, and it greatly supports this channel, and I very much appreciate it. So if you'd like to join the Big Bear Club, you can go down the YouTube description and go to my Ko-Fi link and join it from there. So let's get back to registered programming. So we're going to start on the Proxmox VA helper scripts. There will be a link down in the YouTube description. So I'm going to go to their the search box up here and then type in Docker. And then you'll see Docker LXC right here. I'm going to copy this one. And then I'm going to go over to my Proxmox and get this installed. Okay, so I'm going to start on my Proxmox. I'm going to go to my node. And then I'm going to go to my shell. And then I'm going to go in my terminal right here. And I'm going to paste in the command. And I'm going to run it by return or enter. And then this will create a new Docker LXC. Proceed, yes. And then yes. And then I'm going to go over to advanced. And you just hit the right arrow key over in your keyboard and go over to advanced. You press return or enter. And you make a selection using the space bar. So I'm going to press return or enter. Return or enter. And then I'm going to go down with the down key. And I'm going to press the space bar to select Ubuntu. Then I'm going to press return or enter. Then I'm going to go down to Jammy, space bar, return or enter. Space bar for unprivileged, return or enter. And then you can set up root SSH and you put your password in right here. I'm going to say return or enter. I'm going to put my container ID as 900, but you can put it as anything that's not taken over here. So I'm going to say return or enter. I'm going to put a host name in, say Portainer YT. And then I'm going to put a disk space, 30 gigabytes. And then 2 cores, fine. I'm going to go over here, change this to 3 gigabytes. And then I'm going to say return or enter, and then return or enter. Okay, you can enable this if you'd like. I'm going to say no. And if you have any trouble with running this script and you get any errors or anything, I just press a yes right here by the arrow key on the left and then return or enter. I'm going to say no to this. And then ready to create Docker LXC. I'm going to say return or enter for yes. Now, I would suggest putting this on a static IP on your router and directing the IP to the MAC address. So it's checking if the network's connected. It's allocated an IP from the DHCP server. And like I said, you should put a static IP on it if you're wanting to use it. So DNS resolved at github.com. It resolved to this IP address. So the DNS resolution is working and the internet's working. It's now updating the container operating system. This could take a bit. Okay, now it's installing the dependencies. Then now it's installing Docker. Okay, now it's going to ask you if you'd like to add Portainer, and I'm going to press Y for yes. So I'm going to say return or enter, It's installing Portainer now. Would you like to add Docker Compose? I'm going to press Y for yes. And then now it's cleaning up, completed successfully. So now we have a working Portainer up on Proxmox LXC. So now I'm going to go to the Portainer installation. I'm going to make sure there's HTTPS on it because it's using a self-signed certificate. I'm going to go to the IP address and then I'm going to put the port on it. So it's 9443. So I'm going to return or enter, go into it, and you'll see that this is a new installation. So I'm going to put my password in, and you need to remember this because this is what you'll be signing in with. Okay, now I've put my password in and the create user button is lit up. You can allow the anonymous statistics if you'd like and look at their privacy policy. You can also restore Portainer from backup. So I'm going to create a new user now. So now we are up and running. So now that we're in Portainer, we can go to the home right here and we can see the local, because you can actually connect Portainer agents to another server and be able to manage it from there. I have video on that too. So you can see the dashboard, stacks, containers, images, volumes, networks. You can see app templates. Here's where you put in your Docker Compose. And here's where you have containers, with your Docker containers. Here's the images. And then the networks, volumes, the events that happen, and the host, and setup, and registries. So there's also users, environments, registries, and then authentication logs, which is a business edition feature, and then notifications, and then settings for authentication, Kubernetes, application settings. Here's all the authentication settings right here, and then edge compute, and then there's the about. So that's a little bit about Portainer's UI. So I just walked you through step by step on getting Portainer running on Proxmox LXC. So if you like this tutorial, subscribe, comment, like, and support the channel. And if you have any video suggestions or need support, you can go down to the Big Bear community and join our Discord. There's a link in the YouTube description. So stay tuned for more.